And Jay Vine is the man who has ended up victorious on stage 6 of the Vuelta A Espana, our first big test on the general classification. And the Australian has taken it, Adam, hasn't he?
I mean, what a day for him. Let's face it, I mean, UAE going up the road with Jay Vine, way out of there on GC today. So he had pretty much a free rein within that group, you know, for the stage. He wasn't bothered about the red jersey, picking up mountain points along the way, which he's now the current leader of as well, after taking the points at the finish. So for Jay and the team, that's 2 out of 2, yesterday and today, winning the stage. But I think importantly for Jay, he knew the roads today. He knew he lives up in Andorra, so he knew the final climb. He knew the composition of the breakaway in terms of riders getting in the red jersey, having to stay out of that battle and focus just on the stage rather than the red jersey and the stage. So for him, it was the perfect scenario. And what we saw from the start of the stage was Visma controlling things and keeping them relatively close up until that the second climb of the day, which was ultimately the hardest one. They kept them within sort of 2.5, 3 minutes, and then they really let it go out. So for Jay Vine, if he could have been used as a satellite rider later on, he'd have been used. But if not, he had the opportunity today to win the stage, and he took it with both hands, got his hands in the air, and yeah, demolished his opponent in the breakaway.
It was so well done, and we've often criticised Jay Vine for the amount of crashes he has. He's had plenty in the Vuelta, but this is also a race that he does well in. He's won 2 stages in the past as well. But the bit for me was when he clipped over the top to get the points, and on a wet descent, absolutely nailed it, got it right. The home road advantage, as you were saying, Adam, knows the area like the back of his hand. So to essentially win it in front of his family is just fantastic. Couldn't be more happy for the lad, because he's either up or down as Jay.
But 2 years ago, he was complaining that he wasn't a leader in the team. Now I think he's accepted that, stepped back and gone, well, I can win a lot of bike races still. I don't need to worry about that GC ambition, really. We've got Tadej Pogacar. I'm never going to compete with him, so I'll do what I can, and he's nailing it.
He's picked his moments, isn't he? And again, lost that time early on, no threat on the GC, and absolutely nailed it today.
Can we please get to our new red jersey? What a phenomenal leader we now have in this Vuelta.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, Adam.
we'll go together with this. We'll go together with this.
Scandinavia, I mean, from one Scandinavian to another, from a Dane to a Norwegian. I mean, here is a new
I think Torsten Train obviously doing a brilliant ride. Amarai now in second, Fortunato and Vavaka third and fourth, and then it's the rest of the guys behind that. But there are regularly the same sort of time gaps. Jorgensen has jumped up a few places as well, with Ayuso moving out. Ciccone right up there, we expect. Jai Hindley, roughly the same place that he was, didn't lose any time. And Pellizzari on the same time as Hindley. But I want to talk about Torsten Train because that man in 2022 had cancer, and, you know, he was unsure about his life, he was unsure about his career, and if you look at where he is now, leading a Grand Tour in that red jersey, we talk about how dreams are made, what dreams are made of it, and this is ultimately it. This will mean a lot to him, it will mean a lot to anyone, but I think for him in this position now, when he looks back on where he was at in his life, this will be huge for him, and he wouldn't have been able to dream of it, think about what, if this was even a possibility for him. So I'm so happy for the lad to see him get a red jersey on his back, because that on its own is amazing. But with his story, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's a career-defining moment, and they've still got Tiberi up there and Buitragos from a team perspective. Yeah. I mean, of all the names to pick out of a hat today to actually take the jersey, we wouldn't have thought it, but he fully deserved it. Couldn't quite keep pace with Jay Vine, of course, but was a component part of that group. And it was lovely to see the group, once they got that gap, you could just sense the belief kind of fell over, that they knew they could actually take it all the way to the line. They were completely cohesive, but this man rode one of the races of his life. And what a special day it's going to be for him and his family, for the reasons you just talked about, Adam. It's a brilliant ride.
Yeah, he's got a hard day tomorrow coming up there. I think when we get into looking at tomorrow, we've got 2 very hard days back to back, and then a relatively easier day. But I think tomorrow's stage after today, what we thought for the peloton was a relatively easy day, that was a completely different story. Yeah, coming into that final climb, bigger time gaps with it. Well, Ayuso dropping out the GC, but this is stage 7, what we're expecting. It's around 4,200 metres of climb, and I think the distance is 188 kilometres. So it's a difficult day and a lot of climb involved, more than today. So that fatigue that they had yesterday, this is going to really show on a day like today, Matt. Yeah, well, a day like tomorrow, not today, because today's today and tomorrow's tomorrow.
Exactly. Thanks very much. So yeah, it's an absolute brute. The climb to the finish as well. If you can do work your magic on the finish there, looking at the final climb to the line, it's a harder ascent than today, and we saw those attacks in the finale when Jonas Vingegaard went clear, but as it flattened and it all came back together again, I think tomorrow might be a little bit different, and again the climbs are just a little bit harder. It's a longer stage, and fatigue will start to set in because it's been very difficult. But this is the final climb with a few little plateaus on there, Adam, as well.
A few little plateaus, you can have a little bit of rest, which I was always a fan of, but that middle section of this final climb is the hardest bit. You can see that darker orange part. They're the steepest sections, and right at the bottom of that is a red part. So that's up to 12–15%. After that, it's a gradient at, I think, around 8 or 9% for about 4 kilometres. So that part of the climb is going to be brutal. But as you said, respites in that blue part today in tomorrow's stage. But as we saw yesterday with Ciccone and Jonas up the road, there was a plateau, and that's where it all came back together. So for the likes of Almeida, the other riders, if that happens tomorrow, they'll be thankful of sections like this on a climb, because that will, hopefully for them, if there is attacks, be an opportunity to get back together.
What have we learned from today? Jonas dropping out of the red jersey once again. We've got one Ayuso losing significant time. Things have shaken up quite a bit, haven't they, Matt?
Massively. I don't think Jonas will be too bothered about losing the jersey, just the way the team rode in the valleys when the lead went out to 6.5, 7 minutes. What I think that tells about Jonas and his team, they're confident. No panic at all. Had an relatively easy day. They had Jorgensen around him. Ben Tullett was looking good. I think, relatively speaking, they used their resource wisely. Oh, 100%. I think, because this race just gets harder and harder. So I think they're confident. And the fact he doesn't have to go through the protocol as well is good. But let's see what this is. We're going to learn a lot more about the young man that's at the top of the podium now as well, leading this race. But also Ayuso. We now know who the leader is. Didn't take us very long to get that sorted out. I don't know.
A lot of build-up, but we got there.
We don't know what's wrong with him. Hopefully we'll find out post-race what exactly has gone on. But he's out of it now. It's all about Almeida now.
I'm going to throw in a but.
What's
Jonas. The fact that they let that red jersey go, which obviously the confidence side of things, but on a day like today with 2 very hard days back-to-back, not super hard, but hard enough, Jonas not really wanting that red jersey, the confidence in his team to maybe keep that or not too sure. But also the fact that he went on the attack in the final with Ciccone and then got brought back. For me, that's the kind of, OK, we want to let that red jersey go to ultimately have an easier day. And then he made it hard at the end, but he got brought back. So maybe not feeling, this is just the other side of the argument, maybe not feeling as good as what we think he is. We can look at the benefits from what you said, Matt, but there's also the negative side of things, like why didn't they make it harder than what they could have done? Why didn't they, when he went on the attack, how was he being brought back? 'Cause it's not normal for Jonas in that situation to be brought back. So
he responded to Ciccone, who attacked first. The rider who's impressed me the most out of the GC guys, in fact, I think from this, bearing in mind the wind's gone, that's up the road, Vine has taken that. Normally Ciccone would be going for stages. This is a GC play. This is the first time that we've really seen Ciccone, and I think go for it on a stage like this.
Pulling here, though,
but they're both pulling, but again, it flattened near the end, and there were a lot of riders relaying behind. And if they've only got 5 or 6 seconds on a 3%, 4% gradient to the line, I think it's pretty better to pull the pin that came back together. Had that consistently been 6 or 7, I think Ciccone and Vingegaard, I might be wrong, Adam.
Ciccone
would have taken a bit more time. And also, we know how strangely Almeida rides in the final. Often gets dropped, but then very strong towards the back end. So Almeida looking good as well. So still quite delicate points.
It certainly is.